The River Realms, they call it. What a fine poetic name for something as rotten and twisted as our land has become. It was not always so. Long ago, the old empire, the noblest and most enduring society created by humankind, spanned almost the entire continent of Zerine, the cradle of man. But after several millennia of progress and incomparable achievements, inevitably, the empire began to fall into stagnation and decadence. Desperately holding on to their privileges and resisting change while trying to avert the collapse of the realm, the emperor and his theocracy took to measures that were worthy of true despots in cruelty. Subjugating weaker realms, enslaving whole nations, strip mining foreign resources, oppressing imperial citizens, war on several fronts, genocide. Eventually, the gods could no longer tolerate such horrors wrought in their name. Foretold by an abundance of divine omens, they descended upon the empire to right its wrongs. Thus, in a chain of dreadful events that became known as the Calamity, they annihilated the empire in a matter of days. The gods then finally saw what they had done in their anger and confusion. It is said that so much grief and shame filled them that they were broken and they left this reality, never to return. The continent and its inhabitants seemed dead, but at length survivors began to crawl out of their hiding holes and faced a land that no longer welcomed them. Arcane anomalies, the fallout of the Calamity, now riddled the continent, and people realized that they had to share their new home with changed and twisted creatures. Terrible beings entered through the cracks in the tapestry of reality, arose to rule over the natives. In time, these new powers rebuilt the fallen empire in their own image, and the River Realms, now godless and vengeful, reincarnated from the ashes. The inhabitants of the land, such as I, now eke out a living under the crushing rule of the new empire. The continent itself constantly resists our every attempt at building a cozy home for ourselves. As travel is dangerous, many ventures specialize in transferring cargo and passengers over bleak and deadly leagues of land. Others try to take everything of value from said travelers, or attempt to find buried treasures among the ruins of the old empire. The leaders of the endeavors are, some say, the bravest men and women of the River Realms. Such a leader is called a Vagrus. Ah, yes, a Vagrus. What a profession. Daring and savvy, always watching the horizon, always looking for an opportunity, and of course, for what is best for his comitatus, eh? And you are a Vagrus too, are you not? Many of your kind have I seen in my long life as a vagabond. Care to listen to a story about your exquisite occupation, good master? It is a tale of woe and terror, but it is also a tale that is true, as I have seen it with mine own eyes.
We don't want any ghost stories, old-timer.
Fair enough, good master, fair enough. You don't want to hear tales of trusts betrayed and of bad decisions? It makes sense to me, with you also being a Vagrus and all that. Tell me, have you been long at it? And where do you come from? It is not often that I can talk to one of your kind.
Sand seeps into everything, into the folds of my clothes, beneath my nails, even into my thoughts. To set out as a Vagrus is to accept that dust and hunger will be constant companions. And yet, here I stand, facing this merciless desert, leading a handful of exhausted men and beasts. I am but an ordinary man, driven by ambitions too great to remain in the shadows. So many forgotten stories, so much lost knowledge waiting to be uncovered, waiting to unveil the truth of our world. And still, doubt lingers. Did I make the right choice in walking this path? Am I a capable leader, or just another madman, doomed to wander until the sands swallow my corpse? Whatever may come, my name is Julas Alkantyr, and this journal will bear witness.
Curious, curious. I am humbled to have made your acquaintance, good master. I'm sure that many great adventures await you on your journeys. It was an honor talking to you, good master, but these old bones are aching, and I must rest now. Oh, yes. Perhaps we will talk in the morning. Perhaps we will. May the gods guard your sleep.
Morning creeps up quietly on the arid wasteland. I wake up and step out of my tent and into the crisp air, yawning, stretching, and blinking in the orange light of the rising sun. The fiery orb's warm rays are welcome, in stark contrast to how we will all feel in a few hours. My crew, groggy still after an early start, shambles around camp, busy with their chores. Some of them are still huddled around their dying fires. I look at the horizon to the north and find it empty against the morning haze. Yet I know that beyond that jagged line, the waystation of Kernak awaits. A short stop on my way to a proper city. Less than a week of trudging through the plains, and I reach Tor'Zag Shelter. I hope to rest there and find much-needed work.
Morning, Vagrus. That old geezer you talked to last night is about to leave and wanted to say goodbye before he does.
I nod and head to the campfires. I find the old storyteller in the process of packing his meager equipment while whistling a tune. What do you want, old man?
Thank you for coming, good master. I will not go to Tor'Zag's shelter with you. My path leads elsewhere. I am grateful to you for letting me travel with your comitatus, and I hope I've earned my keep.
Because he had no coin or anything of value when I came across him in the middle of nowhere 3 days ago, I allowed the old man to travel with me and eat from my stores in exchange for entertaining my crew with stories along the way. And true enough, no hour has passed since without a tale being recited by the strange fellow. He even made an effort to entertain me while sitting at my campfire last night. Be that as it may, I allowed him to tag along as an act of kindness. The old man turns to me and smiles innocently.
I may be able to repay you more properly by giving some advice. If you don't mind me saying, good master, you are only starting your venture as a Vagrus, and perhaps you could use such wisdom?
Of course. Any advice is welcome.
First off, there are a lot of rumors going around in a city as great as grim Tor'Zag, but even in smaller settlements too. Listen to these, for there's often truth to such talk, and gossips can guide you to business opportunities, valuables, or interesting places. Often, fresh news is the most valuable commodity you can possess, especially until you have a sizable cargo hold to haul large amounts of goods across the wasteland. If I were you, I'd find some work as soon as possible, preferably something your crew can manage without much difficulty. Perhaps from one of them trading houses. You could also find some passengers who are willing to pay for the security your comitatus can provide, yes? Almost every mansio has folk looking for traveling companions.
The old man scratches his scraggly beard thoughtfully.
Before setting out, it is best to decide what your destination will be and prepare accordingly. Wandering around aimlessly in the wasteland is a sure way to get killed or starve, good master. Yet one's chances are better when the burden can be shared with trusty companions. I'd start looking for such folk as soon as I'm in a big city. There is a man I know in Tor'Zag, now that I think about it, who could help you with such matters and more.
Could you be a bit more specific?
The chap is called Braxius. Strange fellow, really. Not only because of his peculiar lineage. You'll see. He runs a shop. Ah, yes. He'll buy any trinket off you that you do not need any longer. He may sell you something useful, too. Who knows? I'm just remembering now. He once sold a Gavranian wood talisman to an orc mercenary who...
The old man stops abruptly when he notices the expression on my face. He smiles apologetically.
Where was I, good master?
Where can I find this Braxius?
Ah, yes. Braxius's shop. Just east off the Calrish market, in a small street that has a dark stone statue of Mercatus over a fountain.
Thank you, old man.
Best of luck. Irophons be with you, good master.
And may Irophon be with you as well. I watch the old man as he walks away, alone, into the wasteland. It is time to set out. Tor'Zag Shelter is waiting. But before that, it would behoove me to visit Kernak Waystation, only about a day's travel to the north. I could obtain much-needed supplies and news there. Maybe even find work. Who knows? Around midday, we reach an arid basin. A camp rises there, enclosed by stone walls, where grim-looking mercenaries linger. They offer the illusion of safety most travelers seek. At the very least, the place shields them from dust and stone storms. Still, I notice the outpost is severely overcrowded. At the gate, we are greeted by two rough-looking mercenaries.
Gotta say, you folk just keep popping up like wraiths around a rotting corpse. All right, move your arse over there and try to settle in without a fuss.
Why such an attitude?
Listen, I did not mean to bite your head off, stranger. It's not your fault, it's this. Now granted, all this crowd was pretty fun and profitable in the beginning, but now the whole place looks and smells like a war camp. Soon after it began, folks started bickering for all sorts of shit. The best cap spot, more water from the well, more food, and on and on and on. Fights broke out. Some of our guys got badly hurt when they went in to break them up.
Why such an influx of comitati and travelers?
There's all sorts of rumors, but you better ask around yourself, 'cause I ain't sure what to believe anymore. And please, just don't give us a hard time, all right? Move your people and stuff to the place I pointed you to, and everything will be dandy.
I nod to the mercenaries and lead the comitatus to the designated spot. The crew strikes camp, and everyone is settled in after a quarter of an hour. The whole compound is crowded with people. The largest stone building housing the tavern is filled to the brim with customers, so much so that I cannot get inside for a drink. Asking around, I hear of several organizations looking for transportation of goods and personnel. I managed to strike a deal with a group of agents from House Oquo, eager to travel to Tor'Zag's to transport their cargo of blue crystal. Glancing at the sun's position in the sky, I suggested to my new passengers that we leave at once. Given the increased number of passengers, I hired a few additional mercenaries to maintain order. Loading their cargo didn't take long, and my comitatus was soon able to get back on the road. At nightfall, I pay my men. No profit yet. I use my own savings, double their wages, and increase their rations. Money comes and goes, but the loyalty and efficiency of my comitatus are priceless. As we move forward along the great road, I catch sight of the gaping hole in the mountain in the distance, its entrance blocked by a gargantuan wall. The mood lifts, and the members of House Oquo choose this moment to part ways with us. I am paid 26 lerg, barely enough to cover 4 days' wages. At least House Oquo will remember this modest service rendered. Inspection and entry tax. Just like in every great city I've visited. Cursed bureaucracy. Once the comitatus was safely settled in the Mancio, I gave instructions to some of my men to scout the market for potential contracts, while I followed the directions to Braxius's shop. Stalls, shops, and bazaars assaulted my senses with a barrage of strong odors and shouting before I finally spotted the statue of Mercatus. Nestled between two decrepit buildings, Braxius's storefront was unimpressive. Inside is a dark little room with a dirty counter, a strange odor, nondescript trash that barely passes for wares, and a demonkin fellow fiddling absent-mindedly with some gadget. He looks up as I enter.
What can I do you for?
The latter wears a ghoulish grin. He can't help it. He has pointed teeth, a big nose, and a crown of jagged horns that not only adorn the top of his head, but also the sides of his jaws. His eyes burn with a pale orange light, and he is surrounded with an almost palpable aura of nervousness. Surely, this cannot be the man I were guided to. Are you Braxius?
In the flesh.
I explained to him that an old wanderer called Agos told me to come to him if I wanted to find the right people for a comitatus. Braxius smiles his fiendish smile upon hearing my story.
Indeed, I do specialize in connecting such people. I might have someone you will find useful and even help you in getting them to join you. And I owe Argos, so there. Everybody wins.
Who can I recruit?
You like dark elves? Not a great fan myself, but I gotta say, they tend to be quite resourceful. Like this fellow here, called Renkylon, a scout and a very good one at that. I was told that he is looking for a new employer, and a Vagrus such as you would be ideal for him. Perhaps he'll prove to be ideal for you. Funny thing is, I was not able to dig up any dirt on him. Strange, but you know, he is a dark elf after all, so that might be trouble enough in itself.
And how much will it cost me?
Nothing. Like I said, I owe Argos, and he told me that I can pay him back by aiding people he sends to me. Odd, right? Well, not so much really. At any rate, I can arrange a meeting with Renkylon for you.
I would like to meet Renkylon. Minutes after I tell Braxius that I wish to meet this Renkylon, he has closed down the shop and is leading me to where I can talk to the man. I soon arrive at a stinking watering hole at the end of an alley, somewhere between the market district and the undercity. The sign has a feeding carrion bird on it. Underneath, crooked letters spell out the name, the Grinding Gizzard. I find a quiet table in a corner, while Braxius gets me a couple of drinks. By the time I finish the first, a man walks up to me without making a sound and greets me. Wrapped in leather armor and worn cloth, the short, dark elf stands somewhat aloof in front of me. Is that a hideous scar on his left face he is hiding? Eventually, he offers his hand to me.
Salve, Vagrus. I heard that you are hiring people for your comitatus. I might be interested. Might be. That is, of course, if you want a scout on your crew.
Ren here has been all around the continent working for several Vagri. He's an amazing scout and a very experienced fighter.
Renkylon manages a half-smile. His faintly glowing blue eyes are without pupils, so it is difficult to read him.
Braxius is too kind. I try not to disappoint, and I am sure you have questions before you come to a decision.
Could you tell me a bit about your past?
Oh, well, what is there to tell? Like the good Braxius mentioned, I have traveled to most places on the continent a sensible person can travel to, went as far as the Red Desert in the south and the land of endless rain in the north, and of course, I saw things underneath it all you wouldn't believe. I had the luck of working for several renowned Vagrus, Calver the Sable, Sakethma, Ramune Basi. You may have heard of them.
Why would a dark elf prefer the surface to the many underground realms of his people?
That. I have seen a lot of Everdark already. I'm, older than I look. At any rate, there's so much to see here. Why would I want to?
Ren's voice fades away. There is a moment of pause.
But of course, I would be dishonest if I did not tell you how I am not very keen on coming across my people. We just don't like each other too much. So there's that.
Why would you want to take to the road?
That's how I've been ever since I left my home realm and started to roam. Sometimes on my own, but mostly with others. Mostly with Komitari. That is how I live, really. It just happens that for a while now, I've been hanging around the shelter, and by now, I've grown an itch to travel again.
Do you have any other questions?
No, you've convinced me.
There's the matter of a small fee you pay to Ren, too. It is standard procedure in these cases, Captain.
That's understandable.
That's great, really great.
Ren Kalen bows his head in thanks as he pockets the coins.
This sum goes towards travel gear and rations for the road ahead. Much appreciated, Vagrus. I'll meet you at the Mancio, and as far as I'm concerned, we can get the heck out of this town right away.
He leaves as I down the rest of my drink. Braxius asks me to return to his shop with him. When I arrive, he turns to me.
Now that the Ren Kylon business is taken care of, I can help you recruit another fellow. There are 2 options, in fact. Want to hear me out?
I'm listening.
All right, good. So there are 2 fellows here in Tor'Zag's that I could put you in contact with. Both have their own problems, so to say, that they are trying to solve. I can, help you solve their problems for them. 1, that is. I mean, I can help you with one of the 2. And you'll owe me for this.
What can you tell me about the 2 individuals in question?
One is a dwarf, and a particularly nasty one, but don't you get discouraged. Given the right motivation, all that nastiness can be directed towards your foes, Captain. He is a specialist when it comes to dwarfy stuff. You know, scrounging, smuggling, hoarding. Business in general, and he's connected. He knows a lot of people in low places.
The demonkin pawnbroker scratches the base of a horn before going on.
The other one is an orc, and a tough one. He's somewhat of a celebrity around these parts, won a few gladiator tournaments years ago, but then he started to train folks who wanted to become warriors, rather than wandering around himself, and I guess now he's fed up with that and wants to travel and fight again. A real champ, you know.
I must admit, I hesitated for a long time, but given the dwarf's description, he seems to have trouble with one of the great houses or the authorities. A bit of research and a pouch full of bross should allow me to secure his services, but an orc arena champion. That's far more difficult to obtain, which ultimately steers my choice toward the fighter, not without receiving a predatory smile from Braxius.
Good. As I've said, Gorgoro is an orc and, as you'd expect, quite a warrior. Somewhat of a celebrity in this city even, though according to him, his gladiator days are behind him now. However, one of his associates got himself into some kind of trouble with powerful people. Now he has to answer for it. Since the guy is technically a Lannister, he was given the opportunity to field a couple of gladiators against the gladiators of his accusers and, should he win, clear his name. However, he himself cannot step into the arena, and only Gorgoro stepped up to defend him, meaning they are 2 gladiators short. But I can get 2 fellows to round out the team. You win the fight using them, and thereby make Gorgoro indebted to you. He wanted to leave Tor'Zag's anyway, and you would owe me a favor as I've indicated.
I give it a thought, but after a few moments, Braxius clears his throat.
Do we do this, Captain?
I accept.
All right. You just go about your business now. I need an hour or so to get things done. When you feel like it afterward, make your way to Dryas's Gladiator School here in the Market District. It's in the southwest corner. Talk to Dryas and Gorgoro and offer them 2 gladiators for the upcoming match. When they ask you why you do this, simply say that you want to recruit Gorgoro before you leave the city. Then you only have to win the match. The 2 fighters I'm getting you will show up by then. I believe that the orc will need little convincing to join your crew after that.
I nod and prepare to take my leave, thanking Braxius for his aid.
Don't thank me yet, Captain. And before you forget, you'll owe me, and a day will come when I'll need your aid.